Hey, kids. You're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast.
All right, we good to start?
Hold on. Who's Vaughny boy?
That is Vaughn from VGM Con.
Oh, are we having an interview today?
Yes.
You are the worst at this, Jacob.
I don't think you told me.
Yes, I did.
It's been stated on like 3 different streams, and you were at least on one of them.
Just because I'm physically present doesn't mean I'm mentally present.
Jacob will
I'm
be
not sure
asking
you're
any
mentally
questions.
present right now, even. So,
So, nice to meet you.
You as well.
I'm the worst.
What's up, everybody? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. We have a big, fun show lined up today. Jacob's here. Say hi.
Hi.
Hockey's here. Say hi.
meh.
Bri's here. Say hi.
Hi.
Bri, say hi.
Hi.
There you go. You weren't coming through before.
Oh, that's so weird.
Might be the limiter on your mic.
Could be.
I don't know. Grant's here. Say hi.
Greetings.
And then, Grant, we have a special guest joining us because you and some other friends have been so instrumental in convincing me to go to VGM Con and for SML to be a part of VGM Con. So I went the other way first and I made VGM Con come to us. Vaughn from VGM Con, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Welcome to the show.
I'm thrilled to report that it's finally snowed in Minneapolis, where VGM Con is. We've actually been snowless all winter, which is completely unheard of. Like usually January and February are horrible, and finally it's snowed. And there's kind of a running joke at VGM Con of like, there's always at some point been snow on the ground during our events. Last year turned out to be like 80 degrees for the first 2 days, and then what happened on Sunday?
Oh
Snow.
My Snow. Oh my Lord. How does that work?
I don't know. Minnesota's an interesting place, but yeah, I'm happy to be on the show. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. Bumped into you at MagFest, where you had a little display in the walkway advertising VGM Con. For the people who don't know what VGM Con is, sell it to us. Give us the sales pitch.
All right. So it stands for Video Games and Music Convention. We chose that name because it's a lot clearer than our old name. So it gets straight into the point of what we do, which is we host an event that is a gathering place for fans of video games and music. We kind of brand ourselves as sort of half concert, half convention, and also at the same time sort of like a mix between a gaming convention and like a music festival. It has.
So what was the original name before you get too far? I got to know if it was. Yeah.
So originally we were called Gamers Rhapsody, and it's both a mouthful. And when you say it to someone at an event when you're tabling, like when you met me at MagFest, it's hard to explain in a couple of words what that really is. Whereas VGM Con kind of the name does all the work for us. It's
Gamers Rhapsody sounds very like high class. Like I wouldn't be able to go because I don't look good in a suit.
There's something about it that's not quite as open and clear and welcoming. So yeah, we did a rebrand in I think 2018 as VGM Con. And we've been going strong ever since under that banner. And yeah, we're in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a 3-day event. This year it's going to be April 19th through 21st. And you can expect all 4 seasons to happen in the course of those 3 days. And it's a great event. If you want to check out the kinds of acts we've got a huge stacked lineup of some 30 odd music acts coming out to VGM Con. We'll also have, of course, panels. There's a jam space where you can drop in, pick up an instrument, start playing with people, playing some VG lead sheets. We've got an artist exhibitor area, open gaming and tournaments, cosplaying, everything you expect at a music and gaming style event.
Well, let's talk performers. You mentioned that there are a bunch of concerts going on. We have someone here who performs in concerts, and he just happens to be performing in one of your concerts. Grant, what's going on? How did you get involved with going to VGM Con? Like, what started your origin story of going?
I don't remember what the last straw was. Well, I know what the last straw was. I don't know how I originally heard about it. It's just been talked about for a while. But in 2020, it was the last hurrah before the pandemic hit. My Lonely Rolling Stars were playing, and my brother was pulled in to play drums for them. And just between those two facts, I'm like, I have to go. I have to be there. The irony is, I think Viking Guitar Light, which we call it, a 2-person Viking guitar, also played, but it wasn't me. It was after Eric had moved to the East Coast, so it was him and Beardo, and then I just got to watch, which was fun. But I met the Arcadian there, which was really cool, and we've since done tons of music together. Master Sword kicked some butt. There was just a lot of really good shows, and it was 1 week later that they closed schools. So I think, like, if that event had happened 1 week after that, it may not have happened. So that really was the last kind of like thing that I got to do before it all shut down. And then funny. So fast forward, went last year and had a fantastic time. And it was at that point that I realized I was just going to sing the praises of this event to everybody. Just to everyone needs to go to this that is interested in video game music, because that's the thing. It's not like the insane experience of MagFest. It's way more chill. It's way more music focused. It's less of a fan con and more of like a video game music enthusiasts get together, is how I feel about it. And you can get a hotel room. It is interesting. Last year I got there on Thursday, I think, and then and it was 80 degrees, and they lost my luggage, and I got there and it was super sweaty, because the way it works in Minneapolis is they don't like just turn on AC and then turn on heat. There's a process to change things over. So of course they weren't going to like turn on the like a day. So luckily my luggage showed up, and then by Sunday there was a snowstorm, and I hung with my cousin for a day before I left. And so that's that. Vaughn spoke to it, but that's absolutely the case. It's a different kind of climate than you might deal with with something like MagWest or MagFest. But I went last year, and then on a whim we decided to submit as Super Strikers to play, which is a band that it's sort of the Brave Wave label house band. It's me and Dino from Cheap Dinosaurs, and Zaku and Kev Ragone and APOC, and we've been doing songs on and off for a while. And the Brave Wave label has a really big release coming out in a few weeks called Giants, with a bunch of Eastern and Western composers, and we did a bunch of songs for that, and so we'll be showcasing music from that, as well as just some other weird things that we like to do. So it feels really good. Last year I was just bragging about how I didn't bring a guitar, and I was just going to watch shows, and now I am actually bringing one. I am coming with a guitar, and I am excited to play. So, and
that is one of the multitude of reasons that I've been convinced to attend this year. Another big reason. Vaughn, how did you get the Tiberian Sons at this?
Oh man, that is a great question. We have a very gifted and talented programming director. He's one of my best friends. His name's Austin, and I honestly don't know how he does it. But every year I'm more and more impressed so I do all the social media for our event, and when I'm putting together like all of the assets to put out on social media and announce these different acts, sometimes like I'll be putting it together and I'll see the next name on the list for who I'm supposed to announce, and my jaw will drop. Like, well, so Austin, I can't sing enough praise. He does an amazing job. And makes it all happen somehow. our problem lately is that we've had too much music, and we're actually kind of scaling back a little bit just to have a little more breathing room in between acts, give the stage and the stage crew time to change things over. But somehow Austin waved his magic VGM Con wand, and we've got Tiberian Suns coming for the first time to VGM Con.
Very, very cool. What other bands have you been doing PR for, and you just look at and you're like, holy shit, how did we get them?
So we've got, it's where to start. This is great. So I just announced today, Geek Swag is going to be coming to VGM Con. It's a hip hop duo for VGM. We've got Tiberian Suns, of course. One I'm excited about. I don't know if you've heard of Tumbao Multiplayer. They debuted at MagFest this year, and it's a Latin influenced VGM group that I'm excited to have. I'm a string player myself. I play viola, so every time I see any string players on our roster, I get really excited. So String Player Gamer's coming. We've also got Cello Cat, and so anytime I see Atlas as well, the string quartet, they're coming to VGM Con. Anytime I see anything strings related, I get really excited. So those are a few that I'm looking forward to.
I'm a fan of the heavy stuff myself, so seeing people like House the Great there, Ropanuganti is going to be there, Night of the Round is going to be like, I'm thrilled for this event, and I'm glad that like friends like Grant and another friend of ours, Mustin, have just been begging me for years to go, and you finally got me this year. I'm going to be taking a train from Pennsylvania to Chicago up to Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Wow, that's cool, man.
So
that's pretty awesome.
I got to talk to our another friend of ours, Flick, Chris Serrani, about hauling my ass around up there.
Yeah, he gives us a huge helping hand every year as well.
He likes to work. That man's got his tool belt on at all times. That's for sure.
He's a good dude. I love that guy. So you mentioned panels. What kind of panels are at VGM Con? What can people expect to hear about during different panels and events?
So we have quite a variety. Everything from, very kind of serious technical discussions of arranging, voicing in arrangements, mixing, mastering, things like that, to sort of more audience involvement things, where we've had panels centering around making some sort of wacky arrangement where you're spinning a wheel and you get, you have to incorporate every element that gets pulled up on the wheel, and it'll be like, okay, it has to be in 7/8, it has to be in this weird key signature, it has to include these kinds of instruments, and then the panelists will make that arrangement. And then we've also got I'll actually be running with my friend Sean, a VGM Con Iceberg panel, which is going to be dedicated to all of the deep cuts and weird lore and memes surrounding the history of VGM Con. This is our 10th year, so we're going to be looking through 10 events worth of increasingly obscure nuggets of oddness from our past. And I
immediately feel horrible that I have missed 9 of these events.
Well, hey, this will be a great opportunity to catch up. Is sitting through. We'll also have a more serious 10-year celebration panel that won't be so meme oriented. But so this is a huge variety of things that you can expect from the different panels. Everything from very professional and technical to fun and non-serious and everything in between, really.
I have a question. I've heard a lot about this event just because I'm sort of in the mix here, and I've played in a lot of different VGM groups, and so it's just something that we talk about. But I think the buzz around VGM Con is a lot bigger than it was before. What kind of growth are you seeing, like this time to date, last year versus this year? Have you seen an uptick in the number of people registering, or are you feeling the growth, or is it pretty comfortable? Is it a big boost, or is it just growing slowly?
That's a great question, and thank you, Grant. It's actually crazy how much of our attendance is booked in like the last 2 months, really between where we're sitting right now and the day of the event, how much of our attendance is booked in that time frame. So we always kind of get like have like a collective heart attack at the start of the year when we're like, wow, those numbers are nowhere near where we thought they would be. But then somehow it always kind of happens in those last moments. I don't know if that says that gamers are all and musicians are all procrastinators or what that says. But there's always a huge ramp up as we get into the event. But we are, I believe from our last numbers, from where we were last year, this amount of time before the event, we are a bit higher in our pre-registrations, which is good. And last year was our biggest year yet. I think part of that was enough events had started to have happened since events returned in the COVID era, that I think people were feeling more comfortable. So in 2022, we definitely did not see the numbers that we needed to see or wanted to see, and I think that was just people weren't ready to come back to events. We as event runners kind of didn't know what we were doing. We had to make these policies, out of thin air and kind of decide what to do. And last year there was much more of like we could look at other events and go, we like what this event did. We don't think this worked at this event. And then we could, we just had a lot more input, knowledge, history, data to look at and kind of decide what to do as event runners. So I think that really benefited us in 2023. And then just having, I think also from the attendees' point of view, having had gone to other concerts and, one night shows and other conventions, maybe in their local area or to a larger event like a MagFest, I think people were more comfortable and ready to come back. And so we had a really standout year last year. And I think we're on track to have a similar, if not even better year this year.
Very cool. Is there anything big that is you've had to change or that you're planning for this year in terms of like anything from the amount of the space available to you? Are you taking are there more spaces? Are you having to beef up your production for concerts? Are there beefing up staff? Like, are there things that are people can expect that would be a bit different this year?
Yeah. So last year, because it was such a good year, and kind of like I was saying, how we have that ramp up at the end when we really start to see what the true numbers are going to be, and that's only within like maybe weeks, in the single digit weeks before the event. We were kind of taken off guard of how much our attendance spiked. And so, yeah, this year we are trying to really expand our team to accommodate that size. Since we were taken aback, it stretched us really thin last year, and that led to delays on some of the stages and just really taxing some of our staff and volunteers. So yeah, this year has been a concerted effort in expanding that team, making it a little more robust to handle the sort of increased appetite for VGM here in Minneapolis. So yeah, more staff. This year also will be our first year where we're not requiring masks since COVID. So that'll be interesting to see what we've had pretty positive feedback in terms of looking at other events that are our peers in the area, what they're doing for those policies this year. And we've had a lot of leads that we could take and try to adopt to fit our event. But we have sort of this interesting mix of still having all of those resources available for people to be wearing masks if they want them. We have them. We also are still kind of keeping our sanitation stuff that we adopted in the past couple of years in place. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting year in terms of seeing how we kind of can sustain those positive changes we made that we think are for the just better general health and sanitation of the sanitary conditions of an event like this, where you have a lot of people coming from different places all into one location, but also hopefully feeling like it's things like events are normal again. So I'm kind of excited to see what that's going to feel like. It felt, seeing it happen at other events is cool and all, but now I get to actually watch it happen at VGM Con, which is cool.
Yeah, the
Very cool.
only event I can actually compare anything to is MagFest, because it's the only thing I go to. But they didn't have mandatory masks this year, and I got away. It was okay this year. I made it. So it's not to say that safety isn't required, but I don't think it's as necessary as it was just a few years ago.
Yeah, I would say probably every fifth person or so had a mask on. You see them around, or as a part of their outfits or whatever. But they just sort of went freewheeling with it, and it ended up being fine. I mean, I think some people got a little sick or took some other kind of con crud home. Something they got from one of the 25,000 people at Mag. But I came home.
It's funny. The year before then was masking required, and I did get sick.
Yes.
So go figure.
Same. That was my one and only. Was last year. VGM Con last year felt like sort of the end of that. You still had the mask requirements, but we were sort of entering that next phase. And I don't, came home unscathed from that. But yeah, interesting. Are you doing anything different with the streaming this year? I know you had like some stream shows, like an online component for the VGM Con stuff, and you had good old Joshua doing the streams and interviews with bands and stuff. Are you doing the same thing this year for people that can't go?
We are. So, twitch.tv/VGMCon will be streaming in parallel with one of our sister events, Midwest Speed Fest. So they are hosted on site at VGMCon and are a speedrunning marathon. So we'll be streaming in parallel with them. So it'll actually be 2 streams to tune into if you aren't able to make it out and join us in Minneapolis. And what we're sounding like is we're going to have quite a bit more, and people really liked the interviews that we were doing last year on the online stage. And so it sounds like that's going to be making a strong return and kind of have a little more intentionality behind it. And we're giving it some more space on site at the event. So yeah, it's looking like it's going to be an even better and bigger and better version of last year's online stage. And that all came out of really a need to adapt to COVID in the first place. Was in, we had to cancel our 2021 event and go all online that year. And then people liked it so much that we felt like we had to make it a permanent part of the event going forward, so that people from wherever, people can enjoy a slice of VGM Con from wherever in the world they'll find themselves sitting during that weekend. And
what were the challenges of holding? What were the challenges of holding an online convention? Like how did you structure programming? Was there a schedule that you adhered to? Was it just kind of like a fly by the seat of your pants kind of deal? I'm very curious to know more about that.
Yeah, 2021 VGM Conline, as we called it, was really as a team, we were definitely flying by the seat of our pants, because none of us were really experienced stream producers. I mean, a couple of us had streamed before, like doing let's play kinds of things, but to run a whole production, that was very new to us. So we were really learning on the fly, but it turned out really well. We had I guess one great thing about it was there was only one stage to manage, right? And that's the stream. So we had a schedule with a mix of live music in some cases pre-recorded stuff, and then also the same with panels for live and pre-recorded. And we somehow fit all of that into 3 days of programming, and we still went to the same hotel that we're at now, and we rented like just 2 rooms in that hotel, and we had like the sort of command center of the stream in one room, and then like a sort of break room in the other room. And that was our first time at that hotel, actually, which is funny. It was for our online event only, with only literally 6 people in the building.
Jeez.
But that was done well enough that it kind of necessitated that we had to keep doing it even when we returned to in-person events. So yeah, thanks to Jersh over at Bonus Stage, we have kept it going and now have 3 stages at our events. We have the boss stage, hero stage, and then the online stage.
That's very cool. As an attendee, what else can I look forward to at VGM Con? Obviously, there's going to be concerts and panels. What's there in terms of like games to play or merch to buy? What's going on there?
So we've got merch. It's going to be a mix of, local and regional artists, exhibitors, and so you'll be able to expect to buy some original artwork. You'll be able to expect to buy or peruse different games and systems and controllers and tabletop games and such. We partner with a local gaming store called Highlander Games to help fill out our gaming room as well. So you'll be able to expect similar to what you see at any convention exhibitor area. As a smaller and volunteer-run event like ours, it's not going to be, an aircraft carrier. What am I saying? Sorry, I can't English for a second.
I can't English on the regular, and I do a podcast. Let me tell you, it is problematic.
When you just get talking for so long, you're kind of bound to talk yourself literally into a hole you can't climb out of. But
okay. Aki, say something stupid.
An aircraft carrier sized exhibitor room. You can
Jacob.
That's not going to be there, but we will have a good variety of folks. I think it's full. I think we've had to close our application because we've filled the room with exhibitors and such. So and then we've got a dedicated tabletop gaming area and then console gaming area. We've also got so last year we had this. So we're sponsored by Voodoo Ranger, which is a New Belgium IPA brand, and we had this awesome place last year. Grant, I hope you got to see it, the Voodoo Ranger Lounge.
Oh, I was going to ask if they were there again this year.
Drop it, bits!
At MAG, it's okay. This is like the only VGM convention I've been to where you could just go get a cocktail and then just take it in and watch a band. And it was just so nice. It was even during Gunderslam.
Hey, kids.
The side stage was across from the Voodoo Ranger bar. And I have a video of this. It's pretty awesome. But he during one of the songs before the drop, he jumped off stage with his wireless, ran through the crowd, out the door, into the bar, ordered a beer, came back in, and then got on stage and took a swig and set the beer down just before the drop. And it was incredible. So anyway, yeah, I was hoping Voodoo might be there again because that little lounge was a lot of fun.
So yeah, the lounge right across from our second stage was set up really cool with all the windows like blacked out and shaded, and then we had all these lights all over the place, like RGB lights, and then a couple of arcade cabinets, and it just had like the perfect energy in that room. We weren't sure how that was going to go over in there. In the Voodoo Ranger Lounge, but it turned out to be a huge hit, and a lot of the feedback in our feedback form was, please bring this back next year. So Voodoo Ranger will be back. We're toying around with some ideas of where to put that lounge again, but it will be making a return because of how much of a hit it was last year.
Cool.
Grant, you going to show me all the cool stuff there?
What? The cool Of course I am. I mean, if you ask nicely, I'll show you all the cool stuff.
Sweet.
There.
Also very cool is Cool Gamer in chat who dropped 100 biddies. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the biddies. Good to have you here. We were chatting with Vaughn from VGM Con. Is going down this April 19th through the 21st in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Did we talk about why Minneapolis?
No, we didn't. So I guess the really kind of cut and dry reason for that is that so here's how VGM Con really started. Our founder Tom, he, as part of sort of a school project, but also just out of a passion for VGM, saw that there wasn't an event of its type in Minneapolis, and decided, okay, well, I'm going to start that myself. And then my history of getting involved was I went to a little website called google.com. It's pretty obscure.
Well,
Not many people know about it. But it's this neat little search engine I like to use sometimes. And I typed in gaming, music, video gaming convention, video gaming music convention in Minnesota. And up came this thing called Gamers Rhapsody, which was what eventually became VGM Con. And I thought, oh, that sounds cool. I want to try and perform there. And enough other people had that idea locally that we gradually kind of got involved as volunteers and then as a planning team. And we decided, well, let's kind of take this thing off of just Tom's shoulders and kind of all collectively take this on, build something a little more robust and community driven. And we decided that then to turn it into a nonprofit and incorporated it into an actual entity, and decided to move it forward as VGM Con from there. So yeah, it really was just enough local people all saw the same lack of an event of that type. I mean, we have a lot of huge, anime conventions. There's a really big gaming convention in town called 2D Con. And there was just nothing for VGM, and responding to that need, the most logical thing was, well, okay, we'll take that on. And that's kind of how it happened. Was there was enough of a group of people here to make it possible. And it's crazy to me to think that now people are traveling from Pennsylvania, from all over the US, and even from international points of origin to come to Minneapolis for a video gaming event. It's really crazy to think about.
From this show alone, you're going to have me, you're going to have our friend Purnell from Virginia, Chris Taylor is going to be going from Texas, and Brooke Poole is going to be going from California. All four of us, we're all on the Tuesday recording shows. All four of us are planning on being there this year. So you've got an entire podcast crew ready to hang out there and party.
I love it.
And coast to coast and north to south. That's the whole nation.
Getting the whole country there. It's all because of people in California and Arkansas and Missouri. Oh, man. I love it. I know we've been chatting for quite a while. Is there anything that you wanted to chat about with VGM Con that we didn't bring up?
I think one of my favorite things about VGM Con and the fact of the size that we are right now is that it almost feels like you get to meet nearly everyone at the event, which is really cool to me. I love going to big events too, because they have an energy and a vibrancy, and they go late into the night. And I do find that really exciting, but there's something really cool about going to an event like ours, where it really feels like it's so intimate. You feel like you get to meet everyone. And I have this memory that lives rent free in my head of the year that we had Chad Sider. I want to say this is must have been 2019. And we do an orchestra clinic every year, community orchestra concert. You do a couple of rehearsals and then a concert at the end. So as a string player myself, as a violist, I helped write half of our arrangements for that year for the what we were expecting to be a string orchestra. And I had them in a little binder somewhere in like the operations room at the event. And I think I had to step away for a bit. And then Chad Sider and his small group show up and are kind of in the operations room while we're getting, like his badge ready. And he sees what looks to him as a composer and arranger. He sees he sees a little binder, and it looks like it's got music in it. It's got to have music in it. So he, following his intuition, opens up what it turns out to be my binder of these string orchestra arrangements, flips through them, and then he asks one of the other staff members, he's like, "Hey, what are these? Who did this? What is this for?" And then someone was like, "Oh, I think that's Vaughn's string orchestra arrangements for the orchestra clinic they're doing this weekend." And he, nods to himself and is like, these are some great little arrangements here. This is good stuff. And then
Cool.
Chad and I were at like the precursor to what would become the Voodoo Ranger Lounge in years later. Completely me unaware of that happening. We're sitting there talking for a while. Had probably like 2 hours of just random conversation with each other. And then like days after the event, someone let me know about the whole orchestra binder thing. And I went, "What?" Chad looked at my arrangements and said, "What?" And, it's just really cool to have, like, I think from each year I've had at least a handful of those kinds of, one-on-one, like really personable memories and experiences that have stuck with me. And I think I hear a lot of that from people, especially talking about 2020, which was like, the last event in the world for a lot of people. Just those memories, those interpersonal memories that I think a smaller, more intimate event can really lend itself well to. And so that's my favorite aspect of our event. And I hope that's what a lot of people this year coming to 2020, taking a chance on us and coming out to 2024's event will also come away feeling that, oh, wow, I got to have these really unique experiences that I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else.
I am very much looking forward to it. Again, when is it? How much are tickets to go?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. This is, as the social media guy, I really should have
Get all the info out there so we all know what's going on.
Yes, so the dates are April 19th through 21st in Minneapolis, Minnesota, of course. And I would be remiss not to tell you that the price for the full weekend registration will increase after the 18th. So on February 19th, the price will go up like at 12:01 a.m. So if you are thinking of joining us this year, you'll save a good chunk of change by registering for the full weekend price between now and then. So, but yeah, if you go to vgmcon.org, you'll find everything you need to do for registration. Right now, it's $63 for the full weekend. And after this price increase, we'll also have like day passes. So if you happen to be a local and you're only going to be able to go for say, let's say Saturday, there will be a Saturday day registration you can do as well. But yeah, you can find us at vgmcon.org and also on all of our social medias. If you search VGM Con, you'll see a blue and white logo, and that'll be us. It looks like a little game controller with music notes on it. Also, our schedule is up for you to view, and it is stacked. I mean, I feel like I say that every year, but it is truly stacked this year. And we start Friday at 1:30 and go all the way till Sunday at about 4 p.m. So,
wow.
a solid 3 days of nerd stuff to enjoy.
Now, you do shut down for a few hours overnight so people could actually like sleep and shower and rest and all that fun stuff, right?
We do.
Okay. Thank God. MagFest. I love MagFest being open the whole time, but like I'm so pressured to always be doing something.
Yeah. How much sleep did you get at MagFest?
Not much.
Year? I didn't get
Not
much.
Sleep doesn't happen much at MagFest.
You can expect to get a little more at VGM Con, if only because our team needs it. So we'll do. But there is the one weird quirk of the hotel is all of the rooms are kind of in this. There's this sort of landing going up the stairs at each level, and all of the rooms kind of sit on either the left or right side of the landing. And what kind of happens is at the Friday night and Saturday night, as people are slowly going up and things are winding down for the night, they're heading up to their rooms. Inevitably, someone is going to see someone they know at one of those landings, and then someone else who's coming up the stairs is going to see someone in that group, and eventually it just kind of grows into like this
all party,
this 2 a.m. gaggle of VGM nerds hanging out at each landing. It's actually really cool to see. So
it's very excited.
It's a fascinating hotel. It reflects a lot about how things are built in a place like Minneapolis versus here, or other places. But it's kind of like, it feels sort of like an indoor motel in a way, as opposed to a hotel with hallways. It's got this sort of open middle area that you walk down and then can take stairs to either side of the wall so that you're looking at that are the doors to the room. So it's completely enclosed and heated and everything, but it's just, you can't help but just catch people. Like, in MagFest, you just see this, every hallway looks the same. You're just trying to beeline for which elevator is your best guess.
Yeah.
So you just end up seeing more people around because everything's sort of open. You can catch people coming in and out of rooms and stuff. So those meetups make sense. It's just, the place sort of lends itself to that. So
Joe, if you want to sleep, take the elevator and just avoid all that.
There you go.
No elevator parties at VGM Con. Grant, you got to start the VGM Con elevator parties.
I mean, whatever elevator you're in is going to be there. All by yourself in a pool float, just standing there having a beer.
Oh man. Did anyone else have any questions for Vaughn before we let him go? I'll take that silence as a no.
Actually, no. Actually, I did. I kind of, once again, I forgot I had my microphone off.
Proud of you.
Thank you. So, you had mentioned that you do live showings and stuff like that. Is there do you folks offer like a way of like, all right, well, you bought a ticket of it, like here's like an MP3 of like the entire set that you just put out money for it. Like, is there anything like that you folks do, or is that up to the individual bands? Or
in terms of like the live recordings from the event? Yeah, so we do kind of record off of our boards and send those back to the performers, and so it's kind of up to them what they do with it. A lot of performers will go and put that on their YouTube, or they'll stream it back on Twitch or something and have like a sort of watch party. So it's kind of depends on the performer. But yeah, between that and between our online stage, which is all online and therefore has that all recorded already. There is kind of a lingering presence of those performances.
Okay. I was just curious because like the one time I went to MagFest, like I remember asking the guy at like the soundboard, like, this is being recorded, right? Like, and he just kind of like shrugged me off, and like it disappointed me. Like, there wasn't a lot of footage, or at least last time I had looked, of those performances. Because I mean, there was like a lot of awesome bands that like I discovered those evenings because of that thing, and it's just like, I don't know. Part of me is just like it's a shame for that kind of stuff to be lost.
We're also making a Spotify playlist featuring all of the performers. So that'll be another way to, and also I guess to like preview who's gonna be at VGM Con. So there's gonna be tracks from all of our performers that have streaming services up, and you can kind of take a look that way.
Cool. That's all I got.
Awesome. Well, Vaughn, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, chatting with us about VGM Con. It was a pleasure having you on. I can't wait to meet you again out at VGM Con and party with you and just have a good time. I can't wait. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, Joe, you're gonna have a Voodoo Ranger with your name on it at VGM Con on me. So yeah, thanks for stopping by our booth at MagFest. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm really glad that we decided this would be a good fit to have me on for the show. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, come back again sometime. Maybe closer to the event, you can come on and hype it up one more time and chat more.
Sounds good. Be happy to.
Cool. Does anyone have any final words before Vaughn splits?
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying to get into this next year, maybe. This year was too short a notice for me, so.
It's okay.
We'll be back in 2025. Don't you worry.
All right.
Then the SML party will grow year after year. VGM Con. Oh, man. Good stuff. Vaughn, do you have any final words before we wrap this up?
Yeah. I'm really excited that for our 10th year, we're going to have what sounds like so many new faces coming to VGM Con. And I hope that means we're going to have, as one of like the core members of our team, I'm often thinking about where is VGM Con going? What will it look like in the future? And looking back on 10 events, and it makes me really optimistic that we're building a community that can, VGM Con, or VGM as a whole, not just our event, is a really amazing community, and by far the best, fan community I've ever been a part of. And yeah, I'm super excited for this year's event and to see where our event and where our community goes in the next 10 years. And thank you all for being a part of that.
Thank you again for coming on. It means a lot that you're doing stuff for VGM. I've been a part of the VGM community since the early days of OC Remix, back when it was orange. If people know, they know. But it's just great to see people celebrate VGM and gaming music. And my cat's jumping on me. Coltrane, what do you want? Oh, she ruins moments. My cats are good at doing it.
Or makes them better.
Vaughn, have yourself a wonderful night, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you all as well, and see you in April.
All right, take care.
See ya.
All right, news. Should we
hold on? I just want to say how disappointed I am in you, Joe, with your introduction. You said instrumental, and you didn't even try to play it off as a pun for a convention about music. What the crap, dude?
Boo.
What the crap?
I have standards.
You're terrible.
I am terrible. When haven't I been terrible? You want to know what else is terrible? Microsoft's conference today, after making us wait a week for this hyped up.
For this hyped up 22-minute long thing that might as well have been a 5-sentence
It could have been an email.
It could have been an email. Yeah.
Could have been a tweet. Yeah.
It could have been a 5-sentence email.
Last week when the rumors started and everyone was like, oh, Microsoft's going third party, Xbox is dying forever. Microsoft should have just been like, yo, 4 games, that's it. And they're old. We're not going to tell you what they are. Diablo's hitting Game Pass. Okay, bye. And that was it.
They didn't say what they were. I was
Verge supposedly has what they are.
The rumored games are Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded.
Okay, I saw that.
And those make sense based on the things that, those ones are said, but that doesn't, I don't know what their source is or whatever, and yeah.
Because the source mentioned 2 of them were small titles, and 2 of them had games with large communities built around them. But they were new IPs, which is basically Sea of Thieves and Grounded. And then the 2 small games, Hi-Fi Rush is basically confirmed from all the leaks that have come out. And Pentiment makes sense on the Switch, so might as well make that everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a little disappointed that, it's just that. I mean, like I thought it would have been cool to like have Starfield and Indiana Jones on other consoles and stuff like that.
Well, they confirmed those two are not among the four,
right,
obviously.
Right. And I mean, they also said like it's not like it couldn't happen in the future. It's just we're looking at 4. We're going to see how it goes, and then maybe.
And there's no promises beyond those 4 games. So if you're a Switch or PlayStation owner and you're thinking you're going to get everything day one on those consoles, not yet. Although Phil Spencer does believe exclusives are going to become less of a focus for the game industry in the next few years. He feels that community-driven games seem to be among those more likely to go cross-platform. And again, they just restating that all first-party games will be on Game Pass day one, which is important. Game Pass subscribers.
Yeah.
I mean, Diablo's coming to Game Pass. They did announce that. That was like the only other nugget of info that came out during this event. March 28th, Diablo 4 will hit Game Pass. And then they announced that they're up to 34 million active subscribers on Game Pass.
Ooh.
So that's pretty good for them. I think they're
4 million? Wow.
Yeah.
What is Plus subscribers, I wonder? PlayStation Plus total between.
I don't know. I know the last reported number for Game Pass was like 22 million, so they've gone up significantly.
Huh.
And you have to feel that Starfield definitely helped.
I guess so.
I don't know. Anyway, they did say that there is more hardware coming. They have more creators building for Xbox than ever before. They're focused on making the largest technical leap for the next generation. And there are going to be some kind of hardware announcements coming for this holiday season. A lot of people are expecting it to be that digital only Series X, which I'm interested.
The one that looks like the Alexa?
Yeah, I'm interested in a console that has 2 terabytes of storage, but I'm not interested in one without a disk drive.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly interested in one that only has 2 terabytes. I want to have more.
Yeah, I was bouncing off Aki saying, 2 terabytes is not enough. Like, no way, no how.
It wasn't enough for the Series S and X. It's not going to be enough for the next generation.
Oh hell, it wasn't even enough.
That's not
for
the
Xbox
next generation.
One.
That's for the Series X. It's the next version of the Series X. It's not the next gen console. We don't know what the hell's going to be in the next gen console yet. I think it's way too early to speculate on that.
It's really hard to be like, oh yes, we're going to go super far in our tech with this next one, but it's just an upgrade. That kind of, I don't think so.
Two different machines, Aki. They're 2 different machines. The next technical leap is going to be for the next gen, but the next hardware announcement is just going to be a revision of what's currently available.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You think
I hope it's not an Alexa looking thing, because that thing's so fucking ugly.
It is.
So
it's going to be. Everyone knows that's what it's going to be.
I really hope, if anything, they just redesigned it to be a box or something. That just looks so ugly. I hate the design of it.
Well, we still have other kitchen appliances we could try and make it look like. We don't have a microwave yet.
I want an Xbox popcorn maker. That's what I want.
Can we get a blender for our beverages? I mean, there's options.
They have a toaster now, don't they?
Exactly. Yes, they have the S toaster. Yeah.
They have the fridge, the X
They could make
fridge.
it look like a toaster. I'd be cool with that. Because then you put the disc in on the top. Okay, cool.
They already have the toaster. It's the Series S.
Yeah,
it just doesn't have a disc slot.
Yeah.
So it's not enough like it.
Man.
There we go.
You think they'll put out a drive add-on like the PlayStation did, or do you think this is the idea is just to go digital? So there's no reason to do that.
I think their idea is to go digital.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I would like to see a disc drive. If they release that 2 terabyte console with an optional disc drive that you just plug in through the USB port on the front, I'm in. I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I need that extra storage space. Why? It's been, 4 years this console's been out? Why the fuck don't they have anything bigger than 2 terabyte for their expansion drive yet? Come on, you're breaking my balls, Microsoft. I need more space. Let me sell off a kidney. I do think it's funny that they talked a lot about backward compatibility without restarting the backward compatibility program.
What were they talking about as far as backwards compatibility?
Just game preservation.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
Wanting to respect player investments in terms of their libraries. I felt like that was a good thing to mention, but...
Yeah, but at the same time, you're taking away the drive. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know what that means. Does that mean like bringing legacy games to Game Pass?
It was also partly a question of what's going to happen to everyone spending money in this new streaming future that you're trying to take us in. And they just immediately, instead of answering that question, went and talked about gaming preservation stuff by saying still mostly nothing. That entire section was pointless.
There was a lot that I questioned about that conference, but not even a conference. It was
rehearsed
20
and
minutes.
scripted. Yeah.
That's what annoyed me the most is how scripted and fake it felt. Like if you're going to do a scripted conference, do a scripted conference. Just be upfront about what you are. But to play it off as like this is a fast and loose podcast experience. No, we're a podcast. Come on our show. Talk to us because you won't get the softball questions and softball answers. Despite the fact that we don't ask hard-hitting questions, I would be like, yo, where's the fucking backward compatibility program? Please.
I wouldn't let them go until they answered the question that was asked.
That's why they're not on.
I want to know what's going to happen when we buy stuff.
That's why they're not
streaming.
on our show.
Hi,
Coltrane again.
The cat just loves you.
And now she just immediately jumped out. Anyway, PlayStation Plus, the catalog editions have been announced. A lot of good stuff joining the extra catalog. They're getting Need for Speed Unbound, The Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition, Tales of Arise, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Lego Worlds, Lego Jurassic Park, Rogue Book, Rogue Lords, and Tales of Zestiria.
Okay, so they got a lot of very nice things. Okay.
They did.
Congrats to everyone who's with that. Those almost every last one of those I knew and really liked. So
And then the Classics collection, they get Resistance Retribution from the PSP. That's pretty cool. And then the other two are just PS4 games. Symphonia Remastered and Vesperia Remastered.
It's a lot of Tales.
Those are nice games, at least.
They're good, but they're not like... They should be in the
Classics?
extra section. They shouldn't be in the classic section. Because they're PS4 games. They're not PS1 or PS2 or PSP. Grumble.
Yeah.
Tales of Arise is also going to hit Game Pass on February 20th.
Nice.
Which is great. I hope it comes to like the streaming thing as well. That'd be nice. Then I don't have to install it.
Sony will not be releasing, quote, any new major existing franchise titles before March 2025. Good thing they're getting a bunch of Xbox games.
That's a long time from now. That's interesting.
I know.
Does that mean they're just releasing like re-releases and ports and
or they may have new content coming? Like
it might be new IPs. It just nothing. Like you're not going to see a new Last of Us. You're not going to see a new God of War. It's going to be new IP or possibly nothing. It depends on what their schedule looks like.
New IP would be cool. I'm always up for seeing new things coming out, even if they, don't always work well.
Hi, Coltrane again. The game Obey Me was delisted this week on the 15th. All DLC is gone as well.
So did you end up getting the DLC for it or no?
No, I didn't. I couldn't drop $6 on shirts.
What do you mean 6?
There were 3 of them that were $2 each.
Dude, if you
taken down.
Well, hold on. If you bought the complete edition or whatever, it had everything.
Didn't have the complete edition.
Oh, did you already own the game?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I get you now. All right. Then, I totally agree.
I didn't want to drop $6 on clothes. I got the free ones.
Yeah. Okay. Because, if you didn't already own it, the complete edition was only like $4 more. So, yeah. Okay.
No, I looked at it.
Gotcha.
Kingdom Come Deliverance has topped 6 million units sold. Good for them.
Cool.
What kind of game is that?
Hardcore RPG.
Sim. Yeah. Very hardcore.
Yeah. Very similar.
I have no idea how anyone plays that game. I have a feeling I would die within like 10 minutes.
And of course, if Aki doesn't know how to play something, bad.
Yeah, generally. I can agree with that summary. Yeah.
It needs to have
and just
boobs.
because I know how to play it doesn't mean it's any good.
True. Like boobs. To date, Embracer has cut more than 1,400 employees, and they have canceled 29 unannounced games, and they warn that more can be coming.
Holy shit.
Maybe they wouldn't be in such financial problems if they fucking released a goddamn game finally.
Well, no, they released a lot of stuff.
29. Release them.
Well, they were probably like early in development. I doubt that they canceled 29 games that were about to be released, considering they were unannounced.
Companies anymore.
There may have been a few that were close to release, but I doubt there were many that were far along. But Bandai Namco also reportedly canceled 5 unannounced titles as they want to focus on higher quality releases. Okay. So there's some more games gone. And then Maximum Entertainment is reorganizing and unifying all of its divisions into one group. Maximum Games, Modus Games, Modus Studios, Just for Games, and Merge Games will now all just be known as Maximum Entertainment.
Noted.
Okay.
Yeah.
That definitely won't get confusing.
Not at all.
No.
Especially when they have games coming out under all those names still. That's the news I got. Anyone else? What, Aki, any news?
No, God, no.
Bri, anything?
I do have one thing. Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes news. The scenario writer and head of Rabbit and Bear Studios, Yoshitaka Murayama, passed away on February 6th, and he will not be able to see the launch of his passion project.
That sucks. I knew
that's
about
heartbreaking.
That. We didn't need to
hopefully,
talk about that. That's sad.
Yeah, the work had been done, and the game, as far as we know, is still set to launch in April. But if you are invested in that project and you did not hear that news, they are accepting notices for the family and things. They have an email address that you can send information to. They're not asking for any, flowers or anything to be sent, but he was, one of the head creators of this, and he was really driven by the fan support. So being able to pass that information on to the family is helpful.
That's sad news. It's so close to release.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jacob, any happy news to make up for that?
I'm scrolling through the Facebook. Oh my God, no. I didn't post any news articles this week. Jeez, all I did is post
memes.
Shit posts.
Yeah, memes and shit. Oh wait, no, there is going to be a arcade opening up down in Virginia, and down in Brandy Wait, what is it called? Brandy Station. In case you want some good news, there's going to be a new arcade.
Yay!
Cool.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! Grant, any news on your end?
This No Man's Sky trailer went up for this new Omega update. Looks kind of neat. I think I'm done with it. I think I'm done with that game. I played it about a year and a half ago. Played it for a while, but this one's sort of focused on big multiplayer expeditions and stuff. It looks pretty neat. They rebuilt the Atlas system and destroying freighters and all that stuff, but it's with a big focus on the multiplayer aspect, which is kind of cool. So they just keep doing that. They keep updating that game and making it better, and it's kind of wild to see. It's also really weird because I still think of No Man's Sky as a first-person game, but it just defaults to third-person now.
Really?
Yeah, it's been that way for a while. When you watch gameplay for the new expansions, it's like I guess you can see your outfits and the world around you a little better. But yeah, I
might have to try it now. If it's a third-person game, that's one thing I didn't really like about it.
Yeah, I liked first person, so I switched to it. But yeah, it defaults to third, and it's changed a lot. But yeah, they're still kicking.
Cool. Anything else?
Nope.
Oh, dive into reviews.
Let's go.
Sure.
Cool. Grant, you good going third after Bri's 2 reviews?
You betcha.
Coolie beans. Let's start off with The Inquisitor, developed by The Dust, published by Kalypso Media, released February 8th on Series X and S, PS5, and PC for $39.99. You are Mortimer Matterdin, an Inquisitor in God's service sent to the town of Königstein, which is plagued by a series of mysteries and sins, solve the various cases and crimes of those who have transgressed against the faith, all while uncovering the truth of a darker evil from another realm that is trying to enter the world of the living. Bri, what is going on in The Inquisitor?
So this is the first time I've ever felt like I want to give a content warning at the beginning of a review. So I'm going to just say this is a dark alternative Christian story where Christ is vengeful, and this may not be for everyone. It also has depictions of torture and dismemberment that are pretty visceral at times for what I'm used to seeing in a video game. So just be warned, this might not be for you. Oh
man, so yeah, I usually Google the store pages so I could pull up the store page and share it in the chat. The little quick blurb for this one for Xbox just says, Jesus did not die on the cross, but came down and unleashed vengeance on all the non-believers.
Yeah, he burned.
Tell me
reason
more.
why I didn't take this game.
I'll tell you a little bit more. So yeah, there's a graphic in the beginning where you see him, and he's the normal story we're used to, where he's nailed to the cross by the Romans, and he instead of dying for our sins, he rips his fists off the cross, and the cross becomes a bent symbol that these people use in place of the normal cross. And he fights off the Romans and burns Jerusalem to the ground and just goes on this bloody rampage and becomes the ruler of the people. He tells God, no, I'm sorry, I see who they are, and I won't stand for it. And so now there's this militant group of inquisitors, and it's a very bloody, different take on that story. So yeah,
wow.
Just yeah, is a lot. But Mortimer Matterdin, our Inquisitor's journey, is in 1500s Königstein, Germany, and he's sent by the Holy Order to find a vampire rumored to be in town. Vampires are kind of like unbelievers who pervert the faith, but they can, if they, are really bad, become something like the bloodsuckers we think of when we hear that word. Most of the game is fairly story-driven. It was kind of like Assassin's Creed 2 and a Frogwares Sherlock game had a baby. You get dialogue choices, morality-based. You can be a hard-ass or a benevolent inquisitor. You're basically
Which one did you play as?
I was a mix. I tried to be fairly benevolent or kind, because it's just me. But you could see where some of the choices were definitely you're still gonna do the things even if you're pretty nice. But some of the you're not going to get as much out of everybody if you don't actually torture them, as an example. And there's an achievement for getting the full story out of someone. And I feel like the only way to have done that was to actually brutally torture the person. And I just wasn't down for that at that moment. But you're basically a medieval fantasy detective.
I'm always bad at games that convince you to play certain ways. If it's I want to play an evil run this time, and then the first thing you do is you encounter a dying puppy that you have to choose to save or kill. I can't be evil. No, I got to save the puppy.
Well,
and then you're immediately good for the rest of the game.
There is a dog in this game. You can pet him. In fact, there's an achievement for petting him 10 times. His name is Friend. So a big portion of the game, you're medieval fantasy detective. You get to examine bodies and crime scenes looking for clues. You get to look over the body and kind of similar to the Sherlock kind of investigation where you're looking for all these different clues. You get to talk to potential witnesses and informants. You use your Inquisitor powers to go to the supernatural unworld to get to the truth of things. There's an eavesdropping mechanic and clue finding on the bodies. Most of the action in a lot of that sort of stuff is in the form of QuickTime events. And there was this confirmation sound that kind of reminded me of a more subdued Witcher kind of noise at the end of everything, which was a little bit off-putting at first. And there is a little bit of required combat using a sword that's usually easy to navigate. I'll get back to that. You use prayer to guide you to objects near you that casts like a beam of light, and it'll show your next destination. You get to light candles and pray at different Inquisitor shrines to replenish your faith powers. It gives you it's like a prayer site. It's kind of like Eagle Site. It shows you like collectibles and other objects or people of interest in the area, and you use it a lot as you're wandering around because it is not as intuitive as you might think to navigate the different streets and areas, because the map only shows up in this one specific section, which is for fast travel, and I couldn't find a map any other place. We don't have to worry about money or leveling up in the game because we are well trained and the Holy Office is covering all of our expenses. So when you get options where they're like, oh, throw this person some money, you're like, yeah, whatever. There's no consequence for it. You can instead, decide to interrogate them or like be a hard ass to them. But yeah, there were some decent cinematic transitions, but I did have one cutscene that just kind of was a big blur and I missed whatever they were trying to show. A lot of the action in the background of the game as you're walking around the city or the town was like pretty alive, and people were moving and talking and doing things, which was nice and kind of gave it a good feel. You also use the shrines to pray to travel to the Unworld. And the Unworld is really cool. It's like stealth involved sections. You can fight your way through some of it, but most of it you can do via stealth. And you need your light to survive there. So there's these light wells that you go in, and ultimately you're going in to find little bits of memories or like supernatural essence of what someone really did. You get these pieces together in this little ritual that you find in all these different shrines. But while you're down there, you're avoiding this like murk is what it's called. And it will definitely kill you. Eventually you get some like bigger horsemen of the apocalypse are involved, and you're trying to dodge all of their stuff as you're going around trying to use this mechanic to find the truth of what really went down with someone that you can't interrogate in that moment. And then I have a section I've just called the bad.
Oh boy.
So it's jank and it looks dated. When I mentioned Assassin's Creed 2, I specifically chose that one because some of the graphics reminded me of stuff closer to that time period. There are a rare few puzzles that if you can't figure out, it's just game over. I got stuck at one point. It was a sliding block puzzle, and there was no way to reset the puzzle other than backing out and restarting the game. And there's autosave, but some of the checkpoints aren't really good, and there's a lot of backtracking you'll have to do if you're not hitting continue. Like, because you've died at a boss fight, if you have to actually like quit the game and come back in, it takes you back to an earlier section that is not always helpful. So that was frustrating, but eventually got my way through that puzzle. There was a couple other puzzles, but there's not too many of them, thankfully. Some of the formula of the game mechanics got a little repetitive. And there's the combat, which is kind of meh. And usually it's fairly easy to kind of cheese your way through it, but it really sucks when you get to the few sections where it matters and suddenly you get hung up on every little thing or an enemy runs into a wall. And then there's the boss fights, which are frustrating because you're not prepared for them. Once in combat, the camera angle changes, the sword comes out, and all of a sudden your character starts running slowly like he shoved his scabbard up his ass.
Oh boy. Because
of one of the boss fights close to the end, I was actually unable to finish the game. I am going to try again when I have more time, but I could not figure out what the gimmick was, if there was one. I could not get any damage on this boss at all, and not for the obvious reasons that took me a few minutes to figure out. Like, the first gimmick was to get his shield down. I got his shield down and I still couldn't get any damage on him because he's just flying around and throwing things at you and you have no way to attack. It was just really, really frustrating. And again, I was like, okay, well, let me go back to the earlier save point and back out. And it was actually so far back when I restarted the game because I was going to just go back and get some collectibles and like rethink, like see if there was other things to do in the game, that I could save and do, but the game doesn't work that way. It brought me back to the final section of the previous boss, and there's like no way to save the game. Yeah. Which, I mean, was not tragic. I had just gone and found all these collectibles and then gone back and then, nope, you just always go back to that point. So There were things I really liked about the game. I liked the dark fantasy. I was enjoying the main story, the detective gameplay. I could even abide by the combat up until that boss fight. But that boss fight kind of killed it for me.
Understandable. That would be upsetting.
Oh, the game clocks in at $40. What are your thoughts on the Inquisitor?
You might be able to get past the boss where I couldn't. Maybe some other people will have some insight on the internet on what else could be done in that. But I would say, like, at best, I could give it a try, like a wait for a good sale kind of thing, if you're thinking you want to give it a try.
Great. Any other thoughts? Any other questions from the peanut gallery? Nothing?
No, I think I'm good on that one.
All right, move on. Next game is GENIE Reprise, developed by Tonguç Bodur, published by EastAsiasoft, released February 14th on Series X and S and PS5 for $6.99. Take the role of Lula and explore a vibrant fantasy world as she journeys to discover the meaning of the genie and fulfill her destiny. GENIE Reprise is an atmospheric fantasy adventure told through the fully voiced poetry, 3D first-person exploration. Bri, tell us about this one.
So this is a meditative exploration game. I absolutely dislike this phrase, walking simulator, but it does match that description, as do most of Tonguç Bodur's game. This is related to an earlier sort of series of games called Drizzle Path. So it's a world and story that I'm familiar with. And this one is a reprise of previous GENIE, kind of reborn. We've been chosen by a wizard to find the genie of our people. The story is broken into several parts with bits of poems. The poems are Lula reflecting on her life and experiences about grief and love, and it has a lovely narrator voice. The game elements are really just you collecting crystals. You go into one of I think there's like 15 sections. You collect these crystals, and then a series of stone pads appear for you to get the next poetic bit of story. And you go from one pad to the next until they're done telling the story of that section. And all the collectibles and story stones have beams of light, so it's pretty easy to look up and find the measure wandering around the landscape. And that's really the key, though, about the game, is that Tonguç Bodur builds beautiful, beautiful landscapes. And you just kind of want to stop and look around. I can't tell you how many times I played one of his games and just sat there and been like, screenshot. Ooh, look over there. Ooh, let me just get this better angle. Screenshot. And sadly, all of those screenshots are gone now because I didn't save them when we were supposed to before they started taking everything away. Yeah, I know.
Your OneDrive lies empty.
I know. Well, my OneDrive was already full of other important stuff, so sadly. But I think the best way I could describe the experience of this game is imagine walking around something like Skyrim and someone just reads beautiful poetry to you. And good. It tells, a bigger story. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a nice, chill story experience. And, lovely landscapes. So
seems like just a chill, cozy little quick. Is it quick? Is it a breezy experience, or is it something that's going to take you a few hours?
I would say, you can do it in probably under 2 hours or, around there, maybe 3 hours. If you're taking your time, like really like meditating on the story that's being told to you, I don't know, it could take a little longer, but because it's in sections too, if you just want to do like a chapter a night or something like before bed, like you could totally do that because it saves at the end of each section. So yeah.
Well, it's $7. Is it worth it?
I would say yes. I love Tonguç Bodur games, so
I'm glad you know how to pronounce the name.
Well, it's part of my
lost cause.
I'm not sure that I have it 100% on all of the inflection, but Turkish happens to be something that I researched in my medieval life, so I do understand some of the letters and how to pronounce some of the things. So yeah,
I'm back.
It's okay.
Bri, that is it for you. Do you have any final thoughts, final words before we let you sail on tonight?
I wish that the Inquisitor had been better. That's really my final thought.
Yeah, that sounds like a bummer.
There's so many things I wanted to like about it. Yeah. It's a rough premise, though. Like,
It's an interesting
worry
premise,
that
though.
it is interesting, but I recognize that there are people who would like be offended by that, and I was like seriously considering like not telling some of my friends about this game. I'm like, normally I want to talk to everybody about all the cool games I'm playing, even if there's like some bad stuff going on. Like, hey, I want to tell you about the things I'm doing, and I was like, I have a couple friends. I don't know if I should tell them about this game I'm playing. Like,
Hold off on.
yeah, I don't know if they would take to this kindly. So yeah.
All right. Well, do you have any final words?
I think that's it.
Yo, have a good one.
Night.
Bye.
Bye. Next up, System Shock Pinball, developed and published by Zen Studios, released February 15th for Pinball FX and Pinball M for $5.49. Flip to the death in the depths of space, guide the hacker through the Citadel station, messes with cyborgs, mutants, and reprogrammed robots to defeat Shodan. Grant, what is going on in System Shock Pinball?
System Shock is cool. I don't know if you heard, but it's a pretty amazing franchise, and they definitely went the extra length to remind you that System Shock is a very scary experience. It belongs in the Pinball M platform. That game is Shodan's freaking scary. I actually don't know if any lines were lifted from the game, the original series for this, or if they just did their own thing, but their version of her is fantastic. The goal of the game is to try and collect reactor codes, code digits to destroy Shodan. So each code is collected by doing like a really specific thing on the playfield. All of the ramps and all the little places to go all have a sort of a different mode that plays out. Some of them spawn enemies for you to fight. Others, there's a situation where the pop bumpers can explode. You can basically take a certain ramp, and then if you hit the pops, you pop them enough, they'll actually blow up like reactors, which is very satisfying. There's this wild sort of spiral. It's really hard to describe, but if you could imagine like kind of like an ice cream cone, like the ice cream on top, it just sort of spirals up. You go up the first spiral, the ball will come around. There's a flipper there to hit it again to go up the next spiral, and then another flipper to hit it again to go up the next spiral. And it's used in a couple different ways. It enables your locks, but if you can fight your way all the way to the top of the spiral, you can choose to destroy this little patrol robot that's up there. Which will, help allow you to keep your multiplier for the next ball. But if you go all the way to the top and shoot to the very last ramp, it basically gives you this virtual grid mini game that plays a lot like Breakout, and it's great. It's basically bouncing there's a little paddle at the bottom. You move back and forth to bounce a ball up and destroy these little video dudes. All very, very different. All the different little mini games they've attached to these modes are quite cool. And they're not really difficult to pull off. I think some of the shots are a bit hard, but none of them are very dangerous. You could try to get to the top of this little spiral thing, but if you screw up, it's not going to lead to a drain. It's going to dump it right back to your flipper. One of the things I really like about this table is that it isn't mean. I remember when we were looking at all the different tables for the original launch of the Pinball M platform, we had a lot of comments about how some of the tables had like really unnecessary drains, either right down the middle or the outlines. And this doesn't have as much of that. I normally like to spend a lot of time in the practice mode to kind of get used to a table and learn the rules. I flipped right back to regular 3-ball play and had some pretty long games, satisfying games. The path of the ball seems positioned that if you learn how to nudge correctly, you're going to keep it in play most of the time. So it's pretty friendly, except for the fact that it's freaking scary. So yeah, it's quite good. I did not get to any of the like wizard modes, but I did play. I did play through a number of the different main modes. Defeated some enemies. It's got a similar feature to the Chucky Pinball. If you remember, you could destroy that gumball machine and it would dump gumballs on the playfield. Yeah. There's a similar mode, which I thought was really fun. There's a similar one here with these different different colored balls that do different things. But cool. Really, it was really neat. Really well thought out table. It's not particularly difficult to get into multi-ball. I didn't get to it's one of those things where once you there were a lot of missions in those Pinball M tables where you might be working towards something, and if you didn't achieve it and lost your ball, you'd have to start all over again. And that doesn't seem to be the case with this table. So I don't know if it's a matter of them having learned from some of the last few tables they made, but overall, I just found this one really enjoyable to play, and I dig the System Shock universe. I'm excited to kind of spend more time with this and destroy Shoden because she's terrifying. So yeah, but yeah, they got the vibe right. It's a very friendly table, some really interesting shots that aren't too difficult. Really wild series of vertical flippers that shoot the ball up this ice cream I don't know how to describe it, but it's really interesting. It's very different layout. Reminds me a bit of Judge Dredd, the real pinball machine Judge Dredd. There's sort of a giant Saturn in orbit in the back that can grab your ball and do cool things with it. So, but yeah, I definitely plan on getting back to this one.
Did you get to try it on Pinball M and FX, or just one platform?
Just one platform. We had this discussion about the difference between M and Pinball FX, and how there's some features in Pinball FX that Pinball M doesn't have. And I know that they've just recently updated FX with some new stuff as well. So I don't know much about what is different. In Pinball M, there's a series of sort of single player quests you can go on to kind of like essentially score challenges and things like that, to kind of like work through the I don't know, focusing on different parts of the table, and by beating those quests you unlock items that are sort of in the environment built for System Shock. It's the same way there. There was something missing from Pinball FX that wasn't in Pinball M. What was it? What was the big thing we talked about? I'm trying to remember.
Is it the active leaderboards?
Oh yeah, that's still. I think that's gotten a little better since launch, but it's still sort of the same system. They need to. There's some stuff they need to port back and forth between these two platforms. I feel like
the feature parity between the two.
Yeah,
it is cool that if you buy the table for one platform, you get it in both.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
so I could go try the Pinball FX version. I didn't realize that. Well, that's awesome. That's great.
That's why I was saying I don't know if the gifting works the same way, because full disclosure, we got a review code for the tables. It didn't work, so I just gifted Grant the table, and I said I don't know if it gives you both platforms or just one, but you'll find out. So I guess
I will. I will give it a shot. Yeah, I went straight for the. So when I did redeem that, it did basically like label it as a Pinball M purchase. Yeah. So that's where I went, but I need to go check the FX to see if it's that way as well. Of course, they released it on FX, and if they are saying that it works for both, I'm sure it's probably one SKU.
Yeah, I'm just curious if there's any differences in the table between the FX version and the M version.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the table is likely the same, but there are features around it, right? Like the metagame is a bit different between both, so I'll be interested to see.
Or did you notice any like M-rated comments on the table, or M-rated
yeah, I know they kind of bloodied
stuff like that.
Yeah, they bloodied stuff up for some of the M tables. They didn't. Yeah, so no, I did not. I did not notice anything egregious. Shoden's not cussing at you. I don't know what might be different, but perhaps there's some notes on that.
Full frontal pinball nudity.
That's it. Even though she's only a face. Full frontal face.
I approve wholeheartedly.
Aki's in.
That's how we get Aki to play pinball.
That's right.
It very well might be.
8 hours later, I didn't see a single boob in this.
Worst game ever.
Well, Grant, the table clocks in at $549. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a steal. $549. It's a steal. It's not. They're not going to charge Adam's Family price for this. It's a lesser known. It's not a classic like that. They're not having to worry about that kind of IP. But I think it's a great table. It's super fun, and I love that kind of universe. I think that's I'm definitely going to go back to it. I ain't done with it. I will also say that. This could have been a part of news, but Pinball, the Zen Studios just released a new mobile app. Did you see this?
Is it on Netflix? Is the Netflix mobile game?
It's called Pinball Masters, and it is a a collection of like 6-7 tables that you can just play if you have a Netflix account. Completely different UI. It doesn't have a lot of the frills and extras and your custom room and all that stuff of effects. But if you just want to play some pinball with some kind of like goals associated with each table, it's basically Addams Family and then a bunch of their more recent originals. But if you have Netflix and you want some mobile pinball, they never did really keep the mobile platform updated after they put Pinball FX up, except for the Williams one. But yeah, if you that was released in addition to this as well. So that's another thing they have going on. Side note,
Beer says I kind of hate Pinball M with only having 8 tables.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's crazy because it's like one of those things where they needed a place to put the M-rated stuff. So they just launched it towards the end of last year, and so it's a new platform.
It'll get better as it grows, but
exactly.
Where's Texas Chainsaw? I'm waiting for that one.
I know it was in their demo.
It's in the demo,
and it was super fun. So I don't know what's holding that up. So yeah, when that Texas Chainsaw hits, that will be a fun addition too. They'll be almost hitting double-digit tables at that point. That's not too bad.
But speaking of Root Beer, got to give a thanks to Root Beer for dropping a 50-month sub earlier in the show. The wrestling referee also dropped the sub as well that I neglected to shout out, but we were chatting and I got distracted, and I'm old and my brain doesn't work well. So that's what happens.
There you go.
Yeah, but that's not because you're old. It's your brain just doesn't work.
That is true. Grant, That is it for you. You going to stick around to the end of the show, or are you heading out?
I'm going to head out. I'm going to go do some dinner because I'm starving and it's getting late here. So
any new music we could play at the end of the show?
I don't know. Is there? I'm not sure. I don't know if there is. I don't know. I don't think there is. I don't think I've dropped. I don't think since the mag show have I dropped anything new. So dealer's choice there.
Well, we'll play a classic from Stemage to end the show. Do you have any final words before we let you go?
Poopy pants.
Oh,
see you guys. Wish I could see all of you at VGM Con, but I can't. So poopy pants.
Take care, Grant.
All right. See you guys. Later.
See ya. Poopy pants.
Poopy pants. All right. I knew I forgot something. Thank you, Grant. Next game is a Time Traveler's Guide to Past Delicacies, developed by Outlands, published by Sometimes You, releasing February 20th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Windows Store, PS4, PS5 for $4.99 each. A short game about a fictional time traveler raiding to the past to steal recipes, follow a sock puppet into the dark bowels of time, learn new recipes, meet your long-dead ancestors, exploit them to further your cooking skills, take some pictures of dinosaurs, appropriate what you can. Jacob, what is going on in a Time Traveler's Guide to Past Delicacies?
That is a really good fucking question. Because this is a bizarre... It feels like an art game, almost. And it is a very bizarre game. So essentially, there is a group of time travelers who they spend how think about like influencers like on YouTube and stuff like that. Like, it's just like, oh, today we're cooking blah 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 blah. Just like they did back in the 1700s. Well, these folks are like actual, oh yeah, I'm going to go back in time, literally grab the recipe and then come forward into time and enjoy it and, get to experience all these lost things, because sometimes they also have to gather up the stuff because stuff has gone extinct and it's just like no longer there. And so it's just like, you're going back once to grab a dish that, you just can no longer truly make. And it starts off with a weird, Well, I mean, it's just, you don't know exactly what you're getting into, because at first it presents itself as kind of like a point and click adventure, possibly an interactive movie, which it's not actually really an interactive movie, but you watch, the sock puppet talk to you. And random crap starts happening that you're just like, oh, ha ha ha, this is wacky and weird. And then there is a plot twist, and I pretty much just can't talk about it. And the description, honestly, like I was waiting to see how they were going to describe it. And yeah, they left out the plot twist too.
Good. Got to keep that stuff under wraps.
Yeah. And it's, I will honestly say, like, I figured it was going to head in that kind of direction, but I also didn't expect it to. And it's really, as I said, like, it's definitely like an art, like one of those like weird $5 artistic games that really just seems like, the result of somebody coming off of like a 20-day acid trip. And it was just like the controls are crap. I mean, part of it's probably on purpose. It might not, but it's standard for these types of games. But it does go into different types of gameplay, and you almost end up with like kind of like a Pokemon Snap kind of aspect to it too. And because I got bored and I like these kind of like weird games, I decided to actually like see what I could do with it and what the game creators decided to let you experience in it. And one of the things I found that was really bizarre is that in one of the areas that you time travel to, I was like, I mean, obviously I'm just supposed to be sticking around in this village. What happens if I leave it? Because, sometimes you'll die, or like there'll be an invisible wall. And the devs, either they don't care, or you were supposed to figure this out in the first place. But like, so I decided to like leave the village and just see like how far away I could walk from it. And I ended up like I couldn't see the village anymore. Like everything started getting a little bit wobbly. And then I see this thing that's off in the distance. And so I start walking towards that. And it turns out that the game just like kind of spits you back right at the, like, I don't know. It was bizarre, but it's like you can't escape from it, even though it looks like you are. It's, and I realize like that probably doesn't make sense as I explain it, but that's okay because this game doesn't really either. It does allow for replayability. I didn't get all the achievements through the first run through, even though I'm pretty sure I hit up everything. But it seems like there's also stuff that you're supposed to discover, like that the game's not really telling you about.
One of those games.
And it's just, yeah, but honestly, like I had a heck of a time. I will warn you, the point and click part where you have to like actually make the food. On Xbox, at least, the picking up an item, for whatever reason, it will immediately drop it, and then you have to pick it up again a second time and make sure like you're really holding that A button, and then you can drag it to wherever you need to. But for whatever reason, you will never be able to pick up stuff on the first time. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, I had a really great time with the game. And especially for under $5, this is totally friggin' worth it.
Cool. So again, $4.99 is the official price. It is on sale for the next couple of days for $3.99. And it's one of those things where if you own the Xbox One version, you get 50% off the Series X version. Or if you own the PS4 version, you get 50% off the PS5. Doesn't work the other way around. So if you want that stack, you got to purchase one way.
The funny thing about this with the stack is that Joe was like, you were like, oh, which one do you want? Xbox One or Xbox Series X? And I'm like, Joe, I'm just getting in this point of life where, I don't really care about the stack. And, I'm probably never going to play this game again.
Don't you?
I want the friggin' stack on this. Like, I'm kicking myself over it because I'm like, I took the mature high road. And then, like, I'm never going to play this game again after this review. I'm totally going to fucking play this game again. What the hell? Like, I'm so annoyed with myself.
Haha, you like a game.
That's what you like a game and you're gonna have to pay for it.
Fooled you, tricked you into buying a game. Oh, so it's a buy it. Is it a buy it multiple times kind of buy it?
It is. I thoroughly enjoyed this game.
Cool. All right, one final game to talk about tonight is called Ultra Foodmess Deluxe, developed by Painful Smile, published by Silesia Games, released February 14th, Xbox One, Series X and S for $3.99. Experience the food mess. Call your friends to explode, shoot, swing, push, dodge, destroy, and eventually ruin your friendship. Jacob, tell us about it.
So this one I thought was going to be more or less like a slam dunk for me and the kids to play, because they're big fans of Lunchapalooza, which came out, I think, last year. I think it might have been 2 years ago. I don't know. It's been a while. Which I wasn't fond of, but my kids absolutely loved the shit out of this game. So I thought that this would be up a similar nature. It's a top-down perspective, like party game that involves all these like little different foods. Mostly you're starting out with fruits and vegetables, but I've started unlocking like cheese characters, and I think there's like a pizza. I'm not sure. It was round. Anyway, but there's all sorts of different mini games where you have to be the last one standing. Like there's one where you have to avoid knives and forks as they move across the screen. And there's another one where like everyone randomly drops bombs from time to time. And when the bombs go off, it creates holes in the floor. And so not only do you have to avoid the explosion, but you have to avoid the holes in the floor. But let's see. You have to avoid saw blades. Sometimes they're just at the end of the screen. Sometimes they're just randomly flying through the level. One of my favorite ones is there's a ketchup bottle that's like firing this huge laser, and you have to keep running around the map to avoid the laser. And obviously, it kills everyone else. And the part where I was just like, I thought this was going to be good for my kids. I mean, I know it's fruits and vegetables, and I know it's not actually blood, but like when your fruit person gets smashed, like stuff that's supposed to be like the juices from like the vegetable or the fruit, like gets sprayed over the board, and it's like I know it's not blood, but
yeah, it is. It is rated E10 for fantasy violence and crude humor. I can understand that being a little bit excessive compared to what you would want your kids to play. So there's one instance where the rating comes into play, right?
But on the other hand, like everything, like the action is fast and frantic. You could play up to 4 people. You could also play with bots, if, you're lame like Aki and you don't have actual friends. But honestly, like, I thought it was pretty dang fun. Like, it's not the greatest, but as I said, like, it moves quick enough. Like, all the levels are at a pretty zippy pace. And yeah, like, honestly, I thought it was a pretty fun party game. Like, it's not the greatest out there, but I had fun for when I played it.
Well, it is $4 and is actually on sale for the next week and a half for $3.19. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. $4 compared to $3.19. That's pretty steep. No, friggin' buy it. Like, yeah, like honestly, like it's pretty good. If you're just going to go after the achievements, those seem to be pretty doable. But, I think it's a pretty fun couch co-op. Like, I mean, it's not really co-op, but, couch multiplayer game.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. That is it for this episode. We made it through another one.
Yay.
Jacob, Aki, thanks to you two for being here, hanging out. Thanks to Bri for coming on, doing her thing. Big thanks to Grant for coming on, hanging out with us, chatting about VGM Con with Vaughn with us, who massive thanks to him for making time to come on. I can't wait to get out there in April and experience it for myself. Music this episode, we're going to play something from Stemage because that's what we do when he comes on the show. So,
yay.
hey. Aki, have any final words to end the show since you didn't have any reviews?
No, I'm going to leave this up to Jacob.
Yeah, how come Aki didn't have any reviews?
Because she doesn't have an Xbox Series right now. So everything's going to you and Bri instead.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah,
but
I'll have it back in March, so it's all good.
Oh, wait, what's coming out in March that you're looking forward to?
I have no idea. Everything I wanted came out this month. So.
Oh, that's fair.
You know what's coming out in March?
What it is. It happens.
Not a clue, actually.
Your penis?
Motherfucking baseball, the show. I'm excited for the show. I don't care about baseball at all, but I love the show.
Yeah, I've been playing Road to what is it called? Road to the Diamond?
Diamond Dynasty or something.
No, I'm not playing Diamond Dynasty.
Oh.
Maybe it's Road to the Show. I don't fucking know. It's one where you have to create a baseball player, and then like you start up in the minor leagues and have to make your way up.
What position did you go with?
So I was trying to go for like a Shohei Ohtani kind of guy. So he is a pitcher and a designated hitter. And I'm currently crushing like baseball records like throughout. Like I've already hit more home runs in one season than some people do in their entire careers.
Yeah, the show's pretty good for that on easy.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
We're not ending the show, are we? Okay, here's some music from Grant. The end. Bye.
Bye.